it's Mo. It's September, and in just about a week, less than a week, they're going to announce the shortlist for this year's Booker Prize. It's the 2023 Booker Prize shortlist, and then in November, they're going to announce the winner. Before BookTube, I didn't pay any attention to book prizes. Yes, you would see like a sticker on a book or something, but I didn't really even like know what they were or how they were made, etc., etc. Since joining BookTube, I have definitely thought more about book prizes. I've wanted to read book prize books. I've been caught up in booktubers who love book prizes like Bob The Bookerer and Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. Jen Campbell does a lot on different book prizes. There's a bunch of Canadian prizes that people I follow. So it's easy to get excited and get interested in book prizes when you're on BookTube. Since I don't read new books, since I don't buy new books, I'm never able to like read the books that the Booker Prize puts out in time for the Booker Prize, or very, very rarely. Every once in a while I'll get my hands on a book from the previous year that's included in the Booker Prize or the Women's Prize or one of the big prizes, the National Book Prize, but very rarely am I reading books from the current year. Even the 2022 books that I'm reading are early 2022 releases, so they're not even necessarily on the prize lists. I like to watch the Booker Prize. I really like to watch the International Booker Prize. I think that one is probably my favorite prize to watch. I like to watch the Women's Prize and see what's going on there. And there's a couple of other book prizes that I'm interested in that I keep my eye on when people are doing videos about them or when they're long and short lists and winners are announced. I want to start a project where I go through all the Booker books that I have read and all the Booker books that I haven't read and start reading through those. A couple of years ago, maybe last year, I did do a video on all the prizes and if I'd read any book prize books and what I thought of them, what I was interested in. But this one is going to be mostly the Booker Prize and a little bit of International Booker. I went through the Booker long lists and short lists. I think for the first few years you can only get the short lists, and then later on Wikipedia and on the Booker site you can look at the long lists. I'm sure if I did more research I could have found all the short lists and all the long lists as well. For the purposes of this video I just went with what was on Wikipedia. Booker Prize books that I either have that I could read or that I have read, starting with 1978. I'm not going to go through every year of the prize. I'm only going to go through the years that are relevant to this project that I want to start. 1978, The Sea by Iris Murdoch was the winner, and I do have that book. I found that book at a free little library. I got it specifically because I knew it was a Booker Prize winner and I wanted to read it. And also on the short list that year was The Bookshop by Penelope Fitzgerald. That's a super, super short book that I've been wanting to read, so maybe I can get to that for Novella November. In 1980, I have read A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr, which was on the short list. I really liked that book. It's set between the two world wars, but obviously it was written in 1980. In 1991, I have read Time's Arrow by Martin Amis. This is a interesting look, I believe, at a man's life, but going in a backwards timeline. Now, I haven't read this one in many, many years. It was one of the first books that I read that had like a really different timeline and narrative structure. Time's Arrow was on the short list. In 1992, The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje was the winner, and I just read this last month in August, partly for this project. So I have been wanting to read The English Patient. I've watched the movie many times. I was really interested in reading the book. I picked up a copy at a used book sale and I was glad to finally get to it. If you want to see more of my thoughts on this book, you can go to my August wrap-up. In 2001, The Pickup by Nadine Gordimer was longlisted, and I have that one. That is a medium-sized book, not super long, not super short. I have 3 Nadine Gordimer books that I haven't read yet. I haven't read any of her work, so that's one that I should probably get to. sooner than later. And I have read The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman, which was on the 2001 long list as well. In 2002, I have Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, which was on the short list. I have never read any Sarah Waters. I can see them over there. I have a couple of hers though. I know that she's one of Jennifer's for Jennifer Loves Books favorite authors, and a lot of people love her work. Again, this is one that I should probably get to because so many booktubers that I love her work, but it's kind of a long one. In 2005, the winner was The Sea by John Banville. I got this one on the recommendation of GK Reads. Grace at GK Reads read this a few years ago and really loved it. After hearing her description of it, I decided I wanted to get it. And when I saw that it was a Booker Prize winner, even more motivation. Where is GK Reads? Where did she go? Where did Grace go? I hope she's okay. I worry about her because she didn't even like make a video or anything, and she hasn't posted in forever, but I wish Grace would come back. I should look up her Instagram. In 2005, I have Arthur and George, which is by Julian Barnes, and this was on the short list. I can't remember what this book is about, but I found it at a used book sale, and I got it because I had heard about it. It's based on like real life people, someone that I like. I can't remember who, but it seemed really interesting to me, and I decided I wanted to read it. And when I saw that it was shortlisted for a Booker Prize, even more so. Spoiler alert, I also have The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes, which I got exclusively because it was a Booker Prize nominee or winner, but that's going to come up in a little bit. Also from 2005 and also on the short list was Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I've never read any Ishiguro. My friend Kai, who got me to read South of the Border, West of the Sun, really enjoyed Never Let Me Go. Another good reason to read it. On 2007's shortlist for the Booker Prize was On Chisel Beach by Ian McEwan. I read that earlier this year, I think in January. I found it late last year in a little free library. It was very exciting. I had just seen Bob The Bookerer read it, and it seemed really intriguing to me, so I was happy to pick it up. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't as thought-provoking or stimulating as Bob the Bookerer made it out. I'm sure it was for him, but it just wasn't for me. So I wasn't disappointed with it at all, and it was the first Ian McEwan I've ever read. In 2011, the winner of the Booker Prize was The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes, so I did pick that one up. The winner of the Booker Prize in 2017 was Milkman by Anna... oh man, what's her name? I didn't pull out all the books because they're all over, and I knew that somewhere this was going to be a problem. So the winner of the book prize was Milkman. I do have that book. That's about the Troubles in Ireland, but it's supposedly like a text blocky kind of book where there's like lots of run-on sentences. It's a lot of in the head of the main character and not a lot of dialogue or action that happens. So I keep putting that one off. Another book from 2017, it was long-listed, is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This was a much acclaimed book, and I loved Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I tried to read The Underground Railroad last year, I think. I started it on audio, but it was just too heavy for me. Abuse of women and sexual assault in the first like 10 pages was too much, and I DNF'd this book. I don't think I'll be going back to this book, and if I do, it would be in the far, far future. For the 2018 list, I read The Water Cure by Sophie McIntosh, which was longlisted for the prize. I really liked this book. I thought it was interesting. It was almost bordering on young adult, I would say. I actually lent my copy of this book out to a coworker, and then I think she got fired, and I haven't gotten it back. So I'm keeping my eye out for another copy of this book in a little free library or at a book sale. I also have The Overstory, which was shortlisted for the prize in 2018 by Richard Powers. This is just like such a super long book, and I don't know, it seems very, very literary, very dry to me. My friend Isaac read it and he loved it. I should give it a go. 2019 on the long list was My Sister the Serial Killer by Okanian Braithwaite, and I read that just in July, and I really liked it. I think this is an odd choice for the Booker because it is a genre book. It's a literary genre book, but it's a genre book, and it's interesting to note that this year there is a genre book. Well, there's 2 genre books on the Booker Prize. I didn't see that very often when I was looking through the list. So it's interesting that in later years, maybe they're branching off into more genre areas. In 2020, Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid was longlisted. I have that one. I've attempted to read that one a couple of times. I don't know why, but I don't really want to read this book. It's giving, what was that book that everybody loved that I couldn't read? It's giving Luster by Raven Leilani vibes, and I had to DNF that one and I gave it away. I didn't like it at all. So Such a Fun Age is one of those ones that I should really just like try a chapter or get the audiobook or something to see if I'm going to read it. It's not one that I have a lot of hope for. Also on the long list, How Much of These Hills Are Gold by... I can't remember the name of this author either, and I will put it on the screen, but I also have that one, and I am really interested in reading that one. That one's not very long. I think it's under 300 pages. That's one that I should try to get to. It's a historical fiction, which I think is part of the reason that I have not gotten to it yet. Those are all the books that I own from the Booker Prize, long, short, or winners over the years. I don't have any from 2021, 2022, 2023. Hopefully I will find some of those in my travels and at used book sales and at little free libraries. The purpose of this video is just kind of to check in to see where I am with those Booker Prize books, see what I've read, what I haven't read, what I own, and in the future what I'll do I think is another check-in, see what I've read, what I've accumulated, and we can just keep going like that. I'm not going to be a completionist like Bob the Bookerer. I'm not going to try and read everything off of every short, long winner list, but I do want to make an effort to read the Booker Prize books that I have. Very quickly, I just wanted to go through the international Booker books that I've read or that I have. There's very few of them, so this will be quick. In 2016, I read the winner of the International Booker Prize, which was The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I've said this before, but I didn't love that book when I first finished it, but now I think about it a lot, and it has had much more of an impact on me than I thought, so I'm super happy I read it. From the 2019 list, I read Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. This was on the short list. I love that book. I read that book last year, and I think it made it to my top 5 books of the year. I really enjoyed that one. I'm excited to read more by Olga Tokarczuk. From the 2022 list, I read The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. I enjoyed that one. It's not my favorite of the Ogawa books that I've read, but I did like it. I've also read Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin. Those were both on the long list, I believe. And I really loved Little Eyes as well. I actually saw a used copy of Little Eyes for $5, and I should have gotten it, but I'm on my book buying ban, my book acquiring ban, so I didn't pick it up, but I'm hoping I find a physical copy of that so I can reread it. I also recently acquired The Discomfort of Evening, which I don't know the author of, so I will put her name here. That one I've heard really mixed things about, but since it was an International Booker Prize nominated book, I wanted to pick it up. From the 2022 list, I recently picked up, well, it was like in April, Paradise by Fernanda Melchor. I had been hoping to read that one in August for Women in Translation Month, but I just didn't get to it. So I have a couple to read off of the International Booker Prize list. I have quite a few to read off of the regular Booker Prize list. Let me know if you think I should prioritize any of these books. Let me know if you've read them and you think I'd really like them, or you think they were really great. Let me know what Booker Prize winners, shortlist, long list book that you have read. Let me know if you prefer the International Booker Prize to the regular Booker Prize. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!